Amara's life was as vibrant as the village of Umuaka itself, a place where the days began with the crowning of roosters and ended with the soft of crickets under a star-filled sky. Umuaka was a small community where everybody knew each other and life revolved around farming, festivals, and family. Amara was the pride of the village, a young woman who seemed to embody everything good about the land. Her father had passed away when she was just a little girl, leaving her mother, Mama Amara, to raise her alone. Hi everyone, I welcome you all back to my YouTube channel. If today is your first time of coming across my video, please, I beg you to please support me by subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification button so you can always get notified anytime I drop a new video. Thank you. Let's get back into the story. Despite the hardships, Mama Amara had managed to give Amara a life filled with love and lessons. From an early age, she taught her daughter the importance of hard work and integrity. Amara, she often said, the world will test you in many ways you cannot imagine. But no matter what happens, hold your head high and never lose your virginity, because it is your dignity as a woman. Amara grew up hearing stories from the elders during moonlight gatherings. These tales, told with dramatic gestures and redeeming chants, spoke of cunning tricksters, wise maidens, and the wrath of the gods. Amara loved these stories, often sitting close to the fire with wide eyes as the griots wove their magic with words. Little did she know that one day her own life would become a tale whispered around the fires. By the time Amara turned 18, her beauty had become the talk of the village and beyond. Her skin was dark and smooth, her eyes large and expressive, and her smile could light up the darkest night. But it wasn't just her appearance that drew people close to her. It was her spirit. Amara had a way of making everybody feel seen and valued. Whether it was the children who played in the dusty streets or the elderly women who sat weaving baskets under the shade of mango trees. Amara, one of the village elders, once said, "You are like the first rains after Harmattan. You are refreshing and full of promises." Her talent as a weaver added to her qualities. Her mats and baskets, adorned with beautiful designs and patterns, were in high demand, not just in Umuaka village, but in other neighboring villages as well. The design seemed to tell stories of the land, the rivers, the gods, and the people who lived under their watchful eyes. Amara loved her craft, and she often lost herself in the rhythm of her work, her hands moving skillfully as her mind wandered to dreams of a future filled with love and adventure. But for all her outward beauty and talent, Amara was still a young woman with insecurities and dreams. She often wondered what happened beyond the borders of Umuaka. She dreamed of a life where she could explore the world, meet new people, and perhaps find a love that would make her heart sing. Mama Amara watched her daughter grow with pride, but also with a sense of foreboding. She knew that Amara's beauty and innocence would make her a target. One evening, As they sat outside their hut under the glow of the moon, Mama Amara spoke words that would later echo in Amara's mind. "My daughter," she said, her voice tinged with both love and caution. "The world is not always kind to women like you. Your beauty will attract many men, but not all of them will mean you well. Remember, a man who truly loves you will not only admire your beauty, but will honor your soul and personality." Amara listened carefully, but she was too young to fully understand the weight of her mother's words. At that time, life still seemed simple and full of promises. Her days were filled with the laughter of children, the noise from the markets, and the songs of women pounding yam and picking grains. She couldn't imagine a world where love could bring anything but joy. It was during the annual Yam Festival that Amara's life began to take a turn. The Yam Festival was the highlight of the year in Umuaka, a time when the entire village come together to celebrate the harvest and give thanks to the gods. The air was filled with the aroma of roasted yams, spicy soups, and palm wine. Drums beat out rhythms that made even the most reluctant dancers sway to the music. Amara loved the festival. She had spent many weeks preparing for it, weaving a special outfit from vibrant fabrics and adorning her hair with beautiful beads. On the day of the festival, she looked like a goddess walking among mortals, and everyone noticed her. "Amara, you are the pride of Umuaka," a neighbor exclaimed as she walked through the festival grounds. But amidst the laughter and celebration, a stranger's eyes followed her every move. Shiki, a trader who had recently returned from the city, stood apart from the crowd. His gaze feasted on Amara. He was unlike the other men in the village of Umuaka. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed in fine clothes that hinted at his success. Chike exuded an air of confidence that was intimidating. When their eyes met, Amara felt a strange flutter in her chest. Chike smiled and nodded, and from that moment, her life would never be the same. Chike didn't waste time. The very next day, he approached Amara at the market, where she was selling her mats and baskets. "Your beauty outshines even the brightest sun," he said, his voice smooth and confident. Amara blushed, caught off guard by his directness. Over the next few weeks, Chike became a regular presence in Amara's life. He visited her at the market, walked with her by the river, and even helped her to carry goods home when her hands were full. He spoke of the city with so much passion that Amara couldn't help but to be captivated. "Umuaka is beautiful," he said one evening as they sat by the river. "But there is so much more out there. The city is lively. Amara, it is a place where dreams come true, where someone like you can truly shine." Amara listened with wide eyes, her heart swelling with the possibilities he painted. Chike seemed to see something in her that no one else did. He made her feel special, as though she was destined for greatness. Chike's courtship was unlike anything Amara had ever experienced. He brought her gifts from the city, silk scarves, gold earrings, and expensive perfumes that smelled like flowers in bloom. He spoke of their future together, promising her a life filled with love and happiness. "You are the woman I have been searching for," he said one night as they stood under the trees. "Marry me, Amara. Let me take you to the city where we can build a good life together." Amara was swept off her feet. Shiki was everything she had ever dreamed of in a man. He was handsome, successful, and full of ambition. But amidst her joy, a small voice in her whispered caution. It was her mother's voice, warning her not to trust anybody too easily. When Amara shared the news with Mama Amara, her mother's reaction was not what she expected. "Be careful, my child," Mama Amara said, her voice heavy with concern. "A man who comes with too many promises often hides his true intentions. Watch him carefully and closely," she said. Amara nodded, but her heart was already lost. The idea of a life with Shiki, a life filled with love, adventure, and possibilities, was too tempting to resist. For months, Shiki became a fixture in Amara's life. His presence brought excitement and a sense of possibility she had never known. He often spoke of their future together in vivid detail. "You will see the city, Amara," he would say, his voice filled with passion. "I will take you to places where the streets are tiled, where the women wear silk gowns, and where the stars shine brighter because of us." Amara began to dream of this life, imagining herself walking hand in hand with Shiki through streets bustling with life, far removed from the simple village existence she had always known. Slowly, she started pulling away from her usual routines and activities, spending less time in weaving baskets and mats, and more time in talking to Shiki. Mama Amara, however, grew more uneasy. She noticed how easily her daughter was falling under Shiki's spell. One evening, as Amara prepared to meet him by the river, Mama Amara stopped her. "Amara," she said sternly, "I see the way you look at him, but love is not just about words or promises. A man can tell you he will build you a palace, but only time will reveal if he can even lay the first stone. Remember, my child, a tree is judged by its fruits and not by its flowers." Amara nodded but did not respond. Her mother's warnings seemed like distant echoes compared to the sweetness of Shiki's promises. One fateful night, under a moon so bright that it lit up the entire village, Chike asked Amara to meet him by the river. The air was cool, and the gentle rustling of leaves created a melody that seemed to mirror her own excitement. When she arrived, she found Shiki waiting with a mat spread out and a small lantern glowing beside him. "Amara," he began, taking her hand in his, "you are my everything. I want to start a life with you, a life where we share everything. where you are my wife and I am your husband. Amara's heart raised. The sincerity in his eyes made her believe every word. But the elders say we cannot be bound unless we become one in every sense. Chike continued, his voice soft yet persuasive. Amara hesitated, her mother's warning suddenly ringing louder in her mind. But Chike, we have not yet been joined before the gods. Shouldn't we wait until the elders bless our union? Chike smiled, his grip on her hands tightening gently. Amara, the gods know my heart, and my heart belongs to you. Trust me, I will marry you. This is only a seal of the love we already share. In that moment, under the glow of the moon and the weight of Chike's word, Amara surrendered herself to the man she believed was her future. She gave him all of her body, trusting that his promises would come to fulfillment. In the days that followed, Amara couldn't help but notice the subtle changes in her body. Her steps felt lighter, her heart quicker to race. At the same time, there was a newfound awareness, a sense of fragility mixed with strength. She was no longer the carefree girl who laughed with the village children and danced without a care under the moonlight. She began to view herself differently, wondering if any other women in the village could sense the shift in her. She noticed how they looked at her, some with admiration, others with curiosity. She wondered if they saw her as a woman now, someone who has crossed a threshold she would never return from. At night, she would lie awake, her thoughts a mix of hope and fear. She replayed every moment with Shiki, from the first meeting to the night by the river where he disvirgined her. She wanted to believe that she had made the right choice, that her trust in him would be rewarded. But beneath it all, a tiny seed of doubt began to grow, a whisper of fear that she had given too much too soon. At first, everything seemed perfect. Chike was attentive and loving, showering Amara with affection and speaking of their plans to leave for the city together. Amara walked through the village with a new sense of pride, her mind filled with dreams of the life they would build. But soon, cracks began to form in the perfect image she had painted in her mind. Chike's visits became less frequent, his excuses more frequent. The city is demanding, he said one day when Amara asked why he hadn't come to see her for a while. I am working hard to make sure we have everything we need when we move to the city. Amara wanted to believe him, but the growing distance between them left her feeling uneasy. When she confided in her mother, Mama Amara listened patiently before responding. The truth will always find its way, Amara. If a man's intentions are pure, he will not hide them. Watch him carefully and listen to your spirit. One afternoon, while Amara was at the market, a traveling merchant arrived with a news from the city. The man, a regular trader in Umuaka, was known for his stories of life in the bustling towns. As he shared tales of city life, he mentioned a grand wedding that had taken place recently. They say Shiki married a wealthy trader's daughter, the merchant said casually, unaware of the devastation his words would cause. It was the talk of the town. The bride's family is very powerful. With their wealth, Shike's business will surely grow. The world seemed to tilt beneath Amara's feet. Her mind raced as the words sank in. Shike, the man who had promised her the world, was now married to someone else. The betrayer hit her like a physical blow, leaving her breathless and disappointed. She ran back home, her heart shattered into pieces. Mama Amara was there to catch her as she collapsed in tears, unable to speak. "What has happened, my child?" Mama Amara asked, her voice trembling with concern. When Amara finally managed to explain, Mama Amara's face hardened with a mixture of sorrow and anger. "I warned you," she said softly, holding her daughter close. "But the pain is yours to bear now. Let the gods undo this man." Amara's sorrow soon turned to rage. She could not let Shike walk away after destroying her life and her dreams. Determined to seek justice, she made her way to the outskirts of the village, where the infamous witch doctor Ezewanyi lived. Ezewanyi's compound was an eerie place, filled with talismans, skulls, and charms that dangled from trees. Smoke billowed from a fire pit in the center, and the air was thick with the scent of herbs and incense. Ezewanyi, an elderly woman with piercing eyes and a presence that commanded respect, greeted Amara with a knowing look. "You have come for justice," Ezewanyi said before Amara could speak. Amara nodded, her voice shaking with emotion. "I want him to feel the pain he caused me. I want him to suffer for his lies." Ezewanyi listened carefully as Amara recounted her story. When she finished, the witch doctor nodded solemnly. "The spirits have heard your cry, but once this bath is taken, there is no turning back. Are you ready for what is ahead?" "Yes," Amara said without hesitation. "I am fully ready for this." Ezewanyi performed a ritual that called upon the spirits to punish Shiki. She chanted incantations, her voice rising and falling in rhythm with the drumbeat of her apprentice. As the ritual reached its climax, Ezewanyi sprinkled a mixture of herbs and ashes into the fire, sending a plume of smoke into the air. "It is done," Ezewanyi said. "He will pay for his betrayal." In the city, Shike's life began to unravel. At first, he dismissed the strange occurrences, whispering voices in the night, shadows that seemed to follow him everywhere. But soon, the whispers grew louder, turning into screams, and the shadows seemed to reach for him with invisible hands. Shike's once thriving business collapsed as his strange behavior began to scare customers away. His newly wedded wife left him, unable to bear the madness that has consumed him. He began to dress in rags and wandered through the streets without shoe, deceived and talking to himself while walking alone. A young and ambitious young man now became a madman roaming on the streets. Back in Umuaka, Amara heard the news of Shike's madness with a mix of satisfaction and sorrow. She had sought justice, but the experience had changed her forever. She returned to her weaving, pouring her emotions into her craft, and she became a beacon of strength for other women in the village. Shike's fate became a cautionary tale told under the moonlight to remind others of the price of betrayal. And though life in Umuaka went on, the story of Amara and Shike lived on, a reminder that the gods and spirits always deliver their justice in their own time. We finally come to the end of the story. Please guys, I haven't started making money from these videos. The only way you can support me is by subscribing to my channel, liking my posts and commenting on them. And also don't forget to turn on the notification button so you can always be the first person to get notified anytime I drop a new video. Thank you.